Oktoberfest in Bagwe. Citizens of the Bagwe system are attempting to resurrect the ancient Oktoberfest celebration, an annual event based on a centuries-old Earth tradition. The scale of the event is unprecedented, and local suppliers are reeling due to the weight of demand. Consequently, Mold Federal Mining Incorporated has volunteered to finance an emergency initiative that will supply the required resources. A spokesperson for the company issued the following statement. "This will be a party like no other, where people can come together to celebrate life, love and beer. We are honored to play our part in supporting a festival such as this. Nothing is more important to us than helping our communities." Mold Federal Mining Incorporated has placed an open order for animal meat, fish, and beer, promising to reward pilots who deliver these commodities to Liavit Port.
Docking coupler disengaged. Regulate your speed until free of station perimeter.
Bagwe system. The organization has also placed a kill order on all ships on its wanted list, to ensure that those contributing to the initiative can do so safely. The campaign begins on the 27th of September 3304.
Landing gear retracted.
Or it will run for 1 week. If the final target is met earlier than planned, the campaign will end immediately.
Permission denied.
Commodities appeal concludes. The competing campaigns from Techno...
Docking request approved. Plot route for approach to landing pad 25. Automated approach
companies
engaged.
Supertech and Herculean machines have come to an end. Huge quantities of technological components were contributed to the initiatives, which will be... Candidates for the Alliance presidency have spent much of the past week delivering their campaign messages. Incumbent President Gibson Kincaid, who seeks
Contact confirmed. Ground crew dispatched. Station facilities are at your disposal.
has demanded radical change to the Constitution. To occupy the same league as the other superpowers, we need a single ruler with overall control. I ask that you empower me to lead the Alliance into a new era of strength and unity. That is my vision. An increase in commerce is the focus for entrepreneur Fazia Silva. The current president is driven entirely by ego, as are all career politicians, but it's money that makes the galaxy go round. Only by investing in trade and industry can the Alliance truly grow. Councillor Elijah has been critical of his rival's approach. President Kincaid has little respect for our values, and Miss Silva wants to make it easier for her companies to increase profits. The Alliance deserves a president who puts the well-being of its people first, rather than their own selfish goals. The new president...
Ship is disengaged from landing pad. Your way is cleared for departure.
of the Alliance will be announced in October. Starport status update. This report presents the latest data on starports experiencing technical issues as a result of Thargoid sensor-related interference. The following starports are currently closed. Besta Terminal.
Landing gear retracted.
Black Station, Lapsang. Burton Vision, Dima Corner. Couchy Dock, Degt. Klink Dock, in Minnow. Mooches Platform, Deacon's Star. Pook Dock, Hip 35873. Reha.
Shift drive charging.
Kupol Boomba. Seminas Hub, Newark. St. Clair Colony, Sankingu. Smith Landing, Amber. Somerset State.
Ready to engage.
Icarene. Winkfist Terminal, NLTT 5721. 216. Meanwhile, the following starports are on the brink of closure. We can
Temperature critical.
Here are this week's major stories. Political journalist Vanya Driscoll has published an analysis of the Alliance presidential candidates. She has observed that while Elijah Beck seems content with the status quo, Fazia Silva
Shift drive charging.
has promised to boost the economy, and current President Gibson Kincaid has proposed that the role should include executive powers. In other news, business magnate Lloyd Hardacre has been arrested for corporate fraud after his personal administrative robot revealed incriminating evidence. The incident took place during the annual general meeting of Copernicus Shipping Limited, a firm founded by Mr. Hardacre. Lieutenant Inspector of the Federal Security Service is investigating. Independent reporter Gethin Okonkwo has revealed that he has been living undercover in the Far God cult for 3 months. According to his account, the cult has no
Shift drive charging.
contact with the Argoids, with most of its followers being harmless fatalists. Mr. Okonkwo recorded his experience using concealed micro-cameras, and has shared his data with the Federal Intelligence Agency. Hoping to prove that the sect is not dangerous. Meanwhile, 2 rival technology companies, Supertech and Herculean Machines, have appealed for commodities to support the release of forthcoming products. Supertech is developing a personal computing device called the Torque, while Herculean Machines is working on a machine called the Duradrive. Both companies are hoping that the support of the Galactic community will allow them to share working prototypes at a technology expo on the 3rd of October. Finally, the Libertas Cooperative has announced that its appeal for commodities has reached a successful conclusion, having received an overwhelming response from the Galactic community. Land enrichment systems, animal monitors, aquaponics systems, and marine equipment were delivered to Okrinoxis orbiter over the past week, allowing construction of a megaship where manatees will be farmed. And those are the main stories this week. Inside the Far God cult, independent reporter Gethin Okonkwo, who was previously thought missing, has revealed that he has been living undercover within the Far God cult for the past 3 months. In an op-ed piece, Mr. Okonkwo shared his experiences. I was fascinated by Dr. Al Yanov's research, and I desperately wanted to understand this doomsayer cult further, so I decided to covertly study the Far God sect by posing as an adherent. During this time, I visited hive chapels in several different systems, narrowly escaping death, when one was attacked by the Church of Eternal Void. On many occasions, I was physically and verbally abused by members of the public, including Juanita Bishop's campaign followers. At no point did I see evidence of actual contact with the Argoids, bar the occasional use of alien material as holy artifacts. Most worshippers are essentially fatalists, attracted to the idea of an apocalypse. Some are convinced that they alone will survive the Far God's manifestation. It is a strange and often contradictory faith, but no less so than other religions. I recorded my experiences within the sect using concealed micro-cameras. I am voluntarily sharing this data with the Federal Intelligence Agency to prove that the Far God sect is not dangerous, and with the hope of ending its persecution. The presidential power struggle. With the Alliance presidential race gathering speed, political journalist Vanya Driscoll has published an analysis in the Alliance Tribune. The election of a new president is usually a ceremonial matter, during which voters select a public face for the Alliance, but this year is a genuine power struggle, one that may have major consequences. Elijah Beck is the only candidate who seems content with the status quo. By contrast, entrepreneur Fazia Silva promises to boost the economy and increase commerce. Her new financial policies have been welcomed by interstellar corporations and small businesses alike. President Gibson Kincaid is causing the most controversy, however. His proposal that the role of president should include executive powers is being taken seriously by the Assembly. Kincaid claims that having a single controlling voice will enable the Alliance to challenge our rivals' dominance. There is a surprising amount of support for this combative rhetoric. Many agree that the Alliance could be stronger, and that Prime Minister Mahone is often hamstrung by bureaucracy. Rumors suggest that the Empire and Federation are watching this election far costly than usual. Manatee Megaship Initiative concludes. The Libertas Corp.
Kruger, Tango, Hotel Echo. Observe docking reservation protocols. Submit a request before landing.
Has announced that its appeal for commodities has reached
Clear for automated approach vectoring.
successful conclusion, having received an overwhelming response from the Galactic community. Land enrichment system.
Complete. Thrusters offline. Deploying ground services.
CEO of Supertech issued the following statement. The talk is the latest in personal computing, featuring state-of-the-art holographic technology. Anyone who wants to benefit from the next generation of wearable hardware should support its development. Meanwhile, Maddox Hurd, head of Herculean Machines, had this to say. The Jura drive cannot be rivaled for power or customizability. What people need in this challenging age is a robust product, not some ephemeral toy that malfunctions when exposed to a stiff breeze. To bring their products to market, both companies have placed open orders for commodities. Supertech requires conductive fabrics, robotics and microcontrollers, while Herculean Machines has asked for consumer technology, hardware diagnostics sensors and computer components. Pilots wishing to support Supertech should deliver commodities to Roberts Port in the FedMix system, while pilots wishing to support Herculean Machines should deliver commodities to Cowper Dock in the Anima system. The campaigns begin on the 20th of September 3304 and will run for 1 week. If either party achieves its aims earlier than planned, both campaigns will end immediately. Robot exposes corporate fraud. Business magnate, Lloyd Hardacre, has been arrested for corporate fraud, after his personal administrative robot revealed incriminating evidence. The incident occurred at Burnell Station during the annual general meeting of Copernicus Shipping Limited, an interplanetary haulage firm founded by Mr. Hardacre. One witness, a company shareholder, told reporters, "Halfway through Hardacre's financial presentation, we saw off-the-books logs that were very obviously illegal. Hardacre ordered the robot to stop, but it continued projecting data from its internal drives. Eventually he ran from the hall in panic." Lieutenant Inspector Ramesh Thorne, of the Federal Security Service, made this statement. "We have placed Mr. Hardacre in custody while we verify multiple instances of fraud and misuse of company funds. We are also investigating how his personal admin robot managed to obtain such information, and why it chose to make the data public at this time." Historical sculptures stolen. A collection of historically significant artworks has been stolen from the Imperial Museum of Culture on the OTNCs, A3. A local media report stated, "The museum's most popular exhibit is the New Dawn collection, a sequence of sculptures by legendary artist Lal Kandromir. These figures date back nearly 1,000 years and commemorate the early settlers of OTNCs fleeing to join the Empire. This morning, visitors found the entire exhibit empty, with every single one of the Kandromir statues gone. Painted onto the wall was a graphic of the winking cat. The museum cannot explain how its security systems were so completely circumvented." Captain Madaki
Ship released. Clear for departure.
Vander, of the Imperial Internal Security Service, commented, "We are performing forensic analysis and interviewing all staff and visitors. As yet, we cannot confirm any connection between this theft and one that occurred 3 months ago in the
Landing gear retracted.
Helios system. Despite the identical winking cat motif, we will make a big effort to capture this criminal and recover these precious cultural artifacts. Starport status update. This report presents the latest data on starports experiencing technical issues as a result of Thargoid sensor-related interference. The following starports are currently closed. Alexandria Dock, Shanab. Rondell Lab, HIP 88595. Meanwhile, the following starports are on the brink of closure. Black Station. Laosang. Pook Dock, HIP 35873. Somerset Station, Icarana. Besta Terminal, Gemnik. Vision, Demak Warner. Couchy Dock, Decked. Klink Dock, Inmino. Seminas Hub, Newark.
Frameshift drive charging.
St. Clair Colony, Sankangu. Asimov Landing, LHS 2441. Mooches Platform, Deacon Star.
4, 3, 2.
Smith Landing, Amber. Descartes Terminal, Nugwang. Rennie Hub, Kupol Boomba. Winkfist Terminal, NLTT 572.
Temperature critical.
Week in Review. Here are this week's major stories. An
Incoming mission critical message.
anonymous source
Frameshift drive charging.
revealed that Maddox Hurd, owner of technology company Herculean Machines, was previously investigated by the Federal Security Service. The source disclosed that Hurd accepted financial contributions from individuals connected to criminal networks when establishing his company. In the wake of the news, a number of Herculean Machines corporate investors have withdrawn their support. The candidates in the Alliance presidential election.
Incoming mission critical message.
Fazia Silva, a successful entrepreneur from the VAM system, and Elijah Beck, an experienced politician from Leasty. It is understood that all three candidates, Kincaid, Silva and Beck, are roughly equal in terms of popular support. Meanwhile, Juanita Bishop has called on federal Congress to make the Thargoid worship a capital crime, and for all members of the Thargoid cult to be executed. Some federal congressmen have aligned with Mrs. Bishop, eager to be seen as tough on the Thargoids, but others have criticized her for her inhumane rhetoric. In other news, Ramtar has revealed more about the XG project, which produced the recently released XG fighters. In an interview, the engineer revealed that he had been trying to combine human and Guardian technology since the first Guardian ruins were discovered. He closed the interview by expressing hope that the XG project was the start of a new era of technological development. The Libertas Cooperative has announced plans to construct a manatee farm on behalf of food supplier München Manatee Meat. This will take the form of a megaship, where the creatures will be bred, processed and prepared for distribution. To facilitate construction of the manatee farm, the Libertas Cooperative has placed an open order for various commodities. Finally, the Alioth Independents have announced that their appeal for exotic food and drink has reached a successful conclusion, having received an overwhelming response from the Galactic community. Huge quantities of Esuseku caviar, ceremonial Heike tea, and live Hecate sea worms were delivered to Smith Landing over the past week, which will now be used to host a special gala event. And those are the main stories this week. Candidates for Alliance presidency announced. The candidates in the Alliance presidential election have been announced. Political journalist Vanya Driscoll shared the news in the Alliance Tribune. The candidates running against President Gibson Kincaid, who is seeking a second term, have now launched their campaigns. Fazia Silva is a successful entrepreneur from the VAM system. Although lacking political experience, she intends to leverage her business acumen to increase trade and boost economies throughout the Alliance. She has delegated control of her corporate empire to her sister, freeing her to run for office. Elijah Beck, by contrast, is a highly experienced politician. Hailing from the Leasty system, he has served in the Assembly for over 4 decades. He is generally considered a safe pair of hands, but it's unlikely that he would bring about any significant changes as president. Recent polls suggest that Kincaid, Silva and Beck are roughly equal. All three will vigorously campaign for support in the coming weeks, in advance of the public vote on Tuesday the 16th of October. Investors abandon Herculean machines. An anonymous source has revealed that Maddox Hurd, owner of technology company Herculean Machines, was previously investigated by the Federal Security Service. The source shared recently declassified FSS records on the Rewired News channel, and stated, when establishing Herculean 5 years ago, Maddox Hurd accepted financial contributions from individuals connected to organized crime networks, such as the Red Family. While Hurd did not technically break the law, the FSS has kept a close eye on him ever since. In the wake of this news, a number of Herculean Machines corporate investors withdrew their support. Maddox Hurd told the media,
Start program Tango Hotel Echo. Comms link established. Please approach the system.
statement. This will be an event like no other, and we are proud to be...
Touchdown confirmed. Red system shut down.
Introducing Fazia Silva and Elijah King to the Galactic stage. Along with Gibson Kincaid, I'm sure they will soon do battle in a good-natured yet robust election campaign. Those who contributed to the initiative can now collect their rewards from Smith Landing in the Amber system. Manatee Megaship Initiative. The Libertas Cooperative has announced plans to construct a manatee farm on behalf of food supplier München Manatee Milk.
Incoming message.
This will take the form of a megaship, where the creatures will be bred, processed and prepared for distribution. Progenitor Selena Conley of the Libertas Cooperative issued the following statement. For years, the people of München have been lucky enough to dine on the finest meat in the galaxy. We are proud to be working in association with München Manatee Meat to help bring their product to a much wider consumer base. To facilitate construction of the manatee farm, the Libertas Cooperative has placed an open order for land enrichment systems, animal monitors, aquaponic systems and marine equipment. It promises to reward pilots who deliver these commodities to Okrinox's orbiter, in the München system. The organization has also placed a kill order on all ships on its wanted list, to ensure that those contributing material can do so safely. The campaign begins on the 13th of September 3304 and will run for 1 week. If the final target is met earlier than planned, the campaign will end immediately. Calls to execute Far God worshippers. Juanita Bishop has called on federal Congress to make Thargoid worship a capital crime, and for all members of the Far God cult to be executed. Addressing a rally during her congressional campaign, Mrs. Bishop stated, I speak for all those who live in fear of Thargoid infiltration. If elected, I will make sure this foul cult is outlawed and all its followers put to death. Congress has a duty to protect families from these alien-loving collaborators. Vihan Neven, an independent political analyst, commented, Juanita Bishop's statement has triggered considerable debate in Congress. Some congressmen have aligned with her, eager to be seen as tough on Thargoids. But others have criticized Mrs. Bishop for her inhumane rhetoric and for proposing the execution of federal citizens without trial. Meanwhile, the Federal Intelligence Agency continues to arrest adherents of the Thargoid sect and detain those who have had contact with them. As casualties from the Thargoid conflict mount, it's hard to see this most unlikely of faiths surviving much longer. The XG Project. In an interview with independent media outlet Vox Galactica, engineer Antar has discussed the XG Project, which produced the recently released XG fighters. Ever since the first Guardian ruins were discovered, I've been trying to combine their technology with our own. I drew up a blueprint for the original fighter, the XG-1, before inviting other technicians to refine the design with a view to producing something commercially viable. The seventh iteration, the XG-7, successfully merged human and Guardian ingenuity. The XG-8 Javelin and XG-9 Lance soon followed. When asked what the future holds, Rantar remarked, "My hope is that the XG project is merely the start of a whole new era of technological development. While the current focus is the Thargoid threat, the achievement..."
Ship detach complete. You are clear to leave.
Our galactic forebears might one day improve every aspect of society. Week in review.
Landing gear retracted.
Here are this week's major stories. The Alliance Assembly has agreed to vote on President Gibson Kincaid's proposed changes to the Constitution. Kincaid has lobbied for the role of President to be invested with executive powers, and for each presidential term to last 6 years. The vote will take place in mid-October, at the same time as the presidential election. A manufacturing complex owned by computer company Supertech has been destroyed by fire. All personnel managed to escape the blaze, but
Redshift drive charging.
fire has ruined the company's main production complex.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Company CEO, Scorpio Devereaux expressed incredulity at the failure of the facility's fire suppression system. Meanwhile, the Federal Intelligence Agency has increased arrests of potential Thargoid sympathizers, as it continues to investigate the Thargoid cult. Independent observers have confirmed that the FIA has discovered further anti-Thargoid hive chapels. The whereabouts of hundreds of adherents remains unknown. The Gnosis, flagship of the Canon Interstellar Research Group, has been left stranded following a Thargoid attack. A message from the ship's command crew confirmed that the incident caused severe internal damage to multiple systems, including the frame shift drive. The Gnosis is currently adrift close to the 8th planet of the UDOT's STI D96 system. In other news, the Mars Tribune has revealed that actor Thomas Turai, husband of Jupiter Rochester, has been having an extramarital affair with Olympian athlete Reagan Lord. Thomas Turai and August Lord, husband of Reagan Lord, have both announced their intention to sue the Tribune for defamation. The publication's owner, billionaire Kingsley Cordova, has confirmed that he will cover all legal costs in contesting both civil actions. Finally, a public appeal for Thargoid materials from the Thargoid sect has been enthusiastically received by the galactic community. Chancellor Regan Tanner, speaking on behalf of the organizing faction, said the success of the initiative was a victory for religious freedom. And those are the main stories this week. Fire destroys Supertech facility. A manufacturing complex owned by computer company Supertech has been destroyed by fire. All on-site personnel managed to escape the blaze without injury. Emergency crews were soon in attendance, but were unable to prevent the fire from swiftly consuming the facility. Supertech CEO Scorpio Devereaux made this statement. "I regret to announce that the fire has ruined our main production complex. Dozens of prototype torque units were also irreparably damaged. This is a severe setback in the development of our new design. Investigators have been unable to pinpoint the cause of the blaze, or to explain why the fire suppression system in our state-of-the-art complex malfunctions so completely, along with the security cameras, internal alarms and thermal sensors." Maddox Hurd, head of rival company Herculean Machines, commented, "I'm glad to hear that everyone made it out okay. But I have to say, if Supertech's facilities are that poorly designed, I'd hate to imagine what their products are like." Both companies are due to unveil new personal computing devices at the Rackham Ultratech Expo in October, although it is now unclear if Supertech will take part in the trade show. Thargoid sympathizer arrests increase. The Federal Intelligence Agency has increased arrests of potential Thargoid sympathizers, as it continues to investigate the Thargoid cult. Independent reporter Gethin Okonkwo, who first
Incoming mission critical message.
raised awareness of doomsayer cults in the core systems, has been reported missing and is assumed to have been arrested. Many others who were researching the Thargoid sect remain in custody, including leading exotheologian Dr. Alfred Alienov. The FIA has also shut down the Galactic Interfaith Commune and apprehended its spokesperson, Dr. Jamie Le Griffin. Several similar organizations, including the Spiritual Freedom Movement, have been closed down. Independent observers have confirmed that the FIA has discovered further empty Thargoid hive chapels. The whereabouts of hundreds of adherents remains unknown. In an effort to uncover clues, arrests of associates and family members of Thargoid worshippers has intensified. Senior Agent Micah Whitefield gave a brief statement. "We will leave no stone unturned in our mission to identify Thargoid influences. The disappearance of Thargoid chapters is clearly a coordinated operation of either human or alien design. We warn anyone who may be harboring cult members that they are impeding a federal investigation, and will face criminal charges." Thargoid campaign concludes. LHS 2541 Alliance Combine has announced that its request for Thargoid materials for the Thargoid sect has been enthusiastically received by the galactic community. Hundreds of pilots supported the campaign by delivering commodities to Wheelock Ring in the Zavicha system, and by eliminating agitators in Zavicha, thereby ensuring the safety of traders contributing to the initiative. Chancellor Regan Tanner, speaking on behalf of LHS 2541 Alliance Combine, released the following statement: "We would like to thank those pilots who delivered Thargoid materials, thus contributing to the furtherance of religious freedom throughout the galaxy. At this point we would also like to address rumors that the Thargoid sect is experimenting on willing test subjects in the hopes of ascending to a higher form of life. We assert, in the strongest of terms, that this is baseless gossip. Pilots who contributed to the initiative can now collect their rewards from Wheelock Ring, in the Zavicha system." Alliance Presidential Gala. The Alioth Independence has announced plans to host a gala event in the Alioth system, to officially begin the Alliance presidential election. The event will give the as-yet unannounced presidential candidates an opportunity to meet distinguished figures from among the upper echelons of Alliance society. Jurian Ballas, chairman of Alioth Independence, issued the following statement: "Everyone's heard of President Gibson Kincaid, but the other candidates may not be so well known. This will be their chance to shine." As well as hosting key members of the Alliance Assembly, we can also confirm that Prime Minister Redmond Mahone and 3 members of the Council of Admirals will be in attendance. To make this a truly spectacular event, the Alioth Independents have placed an open order for Esuseku caviar, ceremonial Hiki tea and live Hikatesi worms, promising to reward pilots who deliver these commodities to Smith Landing, in the Amber system. The organization has also placed a kill order on all ships on its wanted list, to ensure that those contributing material to the Assembly to vote on proposed changes. The Alliance Assembly has agreed to hold an internal vote on President Gibson Kincaid's proposed changes to the Constitution. Kincaid has lobbied for the role of President to be invested with executive powers, and for each presidential term to last 6 years. Prime Minister Redmond Mahone told the media. After much discussion, the Assembly has agreed to vote on President Kincaid's proposals in mid-October, at the same time as the presidential election. We will announce any amendments to the Constitution shortly afterwards. Milo Vesper, editor of the Alliance Tribune, discussed this development. President Kincaid's proposals are seen by some as a long overdue restructure of the political system. Compared to the current bureaucratic procedure, having a single person make all executive decisions has an obvious appeal. But some in the Assembly are concerned that such changes could imbue the President with emperor-like levels of authority. Prime Minister Mahone is playing down such fears, but the words constitutional crisis have already been heard in Parliament. Whatever happens, this could be the most significant election in the Alliance's history. Gnosis stranded. A scientific research vessel has been left stranded following a Thargoid attack. The Gnosis, flagship of the Cannon Interstellar Research Group, recently made a hyperspace jump towards the Cone Sector, FNJ, B90 system. A short time later, the following message was received from Captain Matthias Leander of the Gnosis command crew. We were a short way into our journey when the Gnosis was hyperdicted by a group of Thargoid vessels. The wrench back into real space caused severe internal damage to multiple systems, including the frame shift drive. There's no doubt that we would have been destroyed if not for some of the commanders traveling with us. They lured the Thargoids away while ejecting meta-alloys from their holds. The aliens were more interested in scooping up the meta-alloys than attacking us. The commanders later reported that the Thargoid vessels were the recently identified Hydra interceptors. The Gnosis is currently adrift close to the 8th planet of the UDOT's STI, D96 system. We have begun essential repairs, but there is a risk that the Thargoids may return before we can escape the system. Scandal hits Rochester family. The famous actor Thomas Turai, husband of Jupiter Rochester, has been revealed to be having an extramarital affair with an Olympian athlete. An article in the Mars Tribune stated, "For the last 3 years, Thomas Turai has conducted a secret relationship with Reagan Lord, who has won several Olympic gold medals for the Altair system. Their romantic liaison took place without the knowledge of Turai's husband, Jupiter Rochester, or their 2 children. There has been no response from Jupiter Rochester. The Rochester family is currently in a media lockdown following the cancelled wedding of Ambassador Jordan Rochester and Princess Aisling Duval. But Thomas Turai and August Lord, husband of Reagan Lord, have both announced their intention to sue the Mars Tribune for defamation. The publication's owner, billionaire Kingsley Cordova, has confirmed that he will personally cover all legal costs in contesting both civil actions. Lana Sigrid, chief editor of the Mars Tribune, published this comment: "We have an obligation to publish the truth wherever we find it. The detailed evidence we've obtained about Thomas Turai's behavior is beyond dispute. We employ the finest journalists in the Federation, and our soaring subscription figures prove we've earned the public's trust." Starport Status Update. This report presents the latest data on starports experiencing technical issues as a result of Thargoid sensor-related interference. The following starports are currently closed: Abeti Platform, Ross 1051, George Lucas, Listi, Napier Station, HIP 94863, Shaviano Dock, Happets, Sinisalo Holdings, HIP 19305, Thirsk Enterprise, Modded. Meanwhile, the following starports are on the brink of closure: Alexandria Dock, Shinab, Alexeyev Hub, HIP 36485, Extra Refinery, Azrael, Matheson Prospect, 45 Tori, Rondalm Bear Lab, HIP 88595, Wheelock Ring, Zavisha. Week in Review. Here are this week's major stories. Independent pilots have engaged a previously unseen type of Thargoid vessel in both the Pleiades Nebula and the core systems. Admiral Aidan Tanner, Aegis's chief military liaison, confirmed that the new ship, classified as the Hydra, is a variant of the Thargoid Interceptor. Federal President Zachary Hudson has announced that Aegis Corps is to relocate from Socho to the federal home system of Seoul. The move is a response to the criminal occupation of the Socho system, which led to the temporary immobilization of Aegis's Eagle Eye network, a system of orbital installations designed to determine potential Thargoid attack sites. Engineer Ramtar has detected unusual energy signatures in the NGC 2451 A sector, the IC 2391 sector and the Sinew FENH region. While the precise nature of the signals is unclear, Ramtar has encouraged independent pilots to investigate. In other news,
Sword Kruger, Tango, Hotel, Echo, please comply with all regulatory protocols.
also said that the incumbent should remain
Incoming mission critical message.
in office for 6 years.
Transit completed. Ground crew dispatched. Enjoy your stay with us.
Instead of a maximum of 1-year terms, Prime Minister Redmond has voiced his opposition to the proposal. Juanita Bishop, a leading campaigner against the God cult, has announced that she is running for federal Congress. Mrs. Bishop's vocal condemnation of Thargoid worship has gained her a strong following in many federal systems. She is now campaigning to be elected to Congress as an independent candidate. In related news, the Thargoid sect has issued a public request for Thargoid materials. It is understood that the objects will be revered as objects of worship, and will not be used in any xenobiological experiments. Finally, authorities in the Betel system have confirmed that the conflict between Betel Free and the Silver Creative Network has come to an end. Both factions received support from independent combat pilots, to whom generous rewards were promised, but ultimately there could be only one victor. It is hoped that the cessation of hostilities will preface a period of peace. And those are the main stories this week. Alliance President proposes changes. Alliance President Gibson Kincaid has confirmed he will campaign for re-election in October. Addressing the media, President Kincaid also said he wanted to make significant changes to the Alliance Constitution. The role of Alliance President is largely ceremonial. I believe that should change. I have been lobbying to invest the position with executive powers, over and above the Prime Minister and the Assembly. By streamlining our bureaucracy, we can make decisions as efficiently as the other superpowers. I also believe that each presidential incumbent should remain in office for 6 years, instead of a maximum of 2 1-year terms. That will allow time to renegotiate diplomatic relationships and correct past mistakes. Gibson Kincaid was the governor of the Seance system before assuming the presidency in 30.
Ship is disengaged from landing pad. Depart safely from the station.
303. He has repeatedly claimed that the Alliance is failing to fulfill its true potential. Prime Minister Redmond Mahone responded, "Our constitution has served us well for decades and I see no reason to amend it. Its system of checks and balances exists to prevent any individual from becoming too powerful and destabilizing the Alliance. The other presidential candidates will be announced within the next 2 weeks." Computer designers' rivalry escalates. Lennox Hurd, owner of Herculean Machines, has publicly dismissed the efforts of rival company Supertech. Both companies are currently developing new computer designs. Mr. Hurd referred directly to Supertech's forthcoming product, the Talk, while addressing the media. There's a reason Herculean has never explored the concept of wearable devices.
Drive charging.
It's a ridiculous idea.
4, 3, 2, 1.
To million credits that those fragile gizmos will break, or their holograms will start glitching, the moment you turn them on. If you want a reliable piece of tech, you need the Jura drive. Believe me, our device will keep on working whatever you throw at it, and even if you throw it. When invited to comment, Supertech CEO Devora responded, "It's regrettable that those with a clear vision of the future are often denigrated by individuals of limited imagination. We offer an elegant and revolutionary approach to personal computing, not just a rubber brick with a screen. I'm sure customers will make the intelligent choice." Prototypes for both the Talk and the Jura Drive will be unveiled at the Rackham Ultratech Expo on Wednesday the 3rd of October. Thargoid Campaign. The Thargoid worshipping sect that reveres an entity known as the Thargoid, has issued a request for Thargoid materials. Chancellor Regan Tanner, speaking on behalf of LHS 2541 Alliance Combine, which is supporting the campaign, released the following statement. To maintain their privacy and avoid further persecution, members of the Thargoid sect have approached us to facilitate the collection of Thargoid materials. They have made it explicit that these materials will be revered as objects of worship, and will not be used as part of any xenobiological experiments. In the interests of religious freedom, we have decided to fulfill their request.
before attempting to dock. Authorization clear.
Mind your speed and your surroundings. Avoid collisions at all costs.
Complete. Depart when ready, Commander.
Landing gear retracted.
Block the access corridor at any time.
Lift drive charging.
to landing pad. Landing pad restraints disengaged. You are clear to leave the port.
Landing gear retracted. Frameshift drive charging. Frameshift drive charging.
Flight Control, submit to random security scans on your approach. Okay, Commander. Approach pad 2-4. Automated docking.
Landing gear deployed. Incoming mission critical message.
Avoid
Docking
unnecessary
completed. Power down
Do
system.
not block the access code. Authorization to be inside the docking bay. Remember, loitering is a violation.
Docking clamps retracted. Observe station regulations on exit.
Landing gear retracted.
Clear of station perimeter. Take care, Commander.
Frameshift drive charging.
trying to escape altitude.
Frameshift drive charging. Frameshift drive charging.
You are now clear of federal restriction zones. Be careful out there.
For your convenience and safety, pacification emplacements are active and tracking at this station. This station operates under a docking reservation policy. Ensure you have authorization before attempting to disembark. Be aware of oncoming traffic in the access corridor. Observe minimum clearance distance.
Frameshift drive charging. 4, 3, 2, 1. Scan detected. Incoming mission critical message. Landing gear deployed.
traffic when busting through the airlock.
Landing gear retracted. Shift drive operating beyond safety limits.
Deploying ground services.
Incoming message.
Restraints retracted. Access corridor is clear.
Landing gear retracted. Incoming mission critical message. Frameshift drive charging.
You are clear of the station. Safe travels, Commander.
Incoming mission critical message. Frameshift drive charging.
landing on pad 09er. Automated docking initiated.
Scan detected. Landing gear deployed.
Confirmed contact, Ranger dispatched. Greetings, Commander.